Hello and welcome to another Minute with Matt. I'm Matt with New Life Church in Northwest Indiana, and we're continuing our study of the book of Matthew, continuing the story of Christmas. Now, this is chapter 2. We're talking about the wise men that are often pictured with in the manger with the baby, Jesus. So, verse 1 of chapter 2. Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and have come to worship him. So, at a certain point, this group of wise men, mind you, it doesn't actually say how many there were. Later on we'll see they gave gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, but it doesn't say one gave gold, another frankincense, another myrrh. Mosaic in Bethlehem gives the impression that it was actually a much bigger group than 3. That's neither here nor there, but it's interesting to compare the traditions we've been taught versus what the Bible actually says. So this group, be it 3 or 30, are in Jerusalem saying, we're looking for the King of the Jews. Herod might have at first thought that they meant him, but then they say, we've seen his star in the east. He's just been born. It's an interesting thing. How would they know? I mean, obviously they saw something in the sky. You know, some say that probably they're descended from a school that maybe Daniel founded while he was in captivity. But wherever they got the idea, they were right on. And they saw this was the most important event in the history of the world. The only thing more important was creation, because without creation, none of this would happen. Then the next one will come later, toward the end of the book of Matthew. But the crucifixion wouldn't have taken place if he hadn't been born. So, they are looking for a different king, because Herod was the king appointed by the Romans, the king of Israel. So, verse 3, When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. You know, someone's going to challenge my position. And so, he got to find this person. Verse 5 says, So they said to him, In Bethlehem of Judea, for thus is written by the prophet, But you, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are not the least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you shall come a ruler who shall shepherd my people Israel. So that's an interesting thing. They knew where the Messiah was going to be born. So, that's just interesting, because when you think of how they all missed, so many people missed it when the Messiah came. He fulfilled every single prophecy about the Messiah. They still managed to miss it. Makes me wonder about the end times. Will we all miss the signs, the prophesied signs of that? But I'll digress on that. Verse 7. Then Herod, when he had secretly called the wise men, determined from them what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, Go and search carefully for the young child, and when you have found him, bring back word to me, that I may come and worship him also. So they told him when this star had first appeared. I'll give a little spoiler, which we'll get to in a little bit is it was 2 years. This was not the night that Jesus was born. This had been 2 years. They came on a long journey. They didn't jump into a jet. It was 2 years. So they came, and I'm going to continue. They were not at the manger. And of course here, when you found him, bring back word to me that I may come also and worship him also. That's not really Herod's intention, as you might have guessed. When they heard the king, verse 9, they departed, and behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. So they see the star again, and they come and they found the child. Didn't say baby anymore. The child. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. And when they had come into the house, verse 11, look it up yourself. It doesn't say come into the manger, it said come into the house. Mary and Joseph had some sort of house at this point in Jerusalem. Or in Bethlehem, sorry. In Bethlehem. They saw the young child. Again, child, not infant. With Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. So they fell down and worshipped Jesus. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented gifts to him, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So they gave very valuable things. Then, being divinely warned, in verse 12, in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed for their own country another way. Now we got this. They're not coming back to Herod. An angel or whatever. They were warned in a dream. So they went another way, and then you got Herod waiting to hear from them. But verse 13, now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, take the young child and his mother, flee to Egypt, and stay there until I bring you word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the Lord through the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt I called my son. So Joseph gets warned at this point, it's time to get out of there, and you're going to find out why in a minute. Verse 16, then Herod, when he saw he was deceived by the wise men, was exceedingly angry, and sent forth and put to death all the male children who were in Bethlehem and in all its districts, from 2 years old and under. That's where we get the 2 years. The wise men must have told him 2 years. 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had determined from the wise men. Can you imagine that? The Roman soldiers breaking down your door and saying, we're going to kill your baby? Doesn't specifically say it, but I'll bet you there were a lot of mothers and fathers who were killed too. I mean, he just slaughtered all of them. And he got away with it because the Roman Empire was very brutal, so that was acceptable. He didn't get in trouble for this. I mean, it's just awful to think about. Verse 17, then was fulfilled which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation, weeping, and great mourning. Rachel is weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted, because they are no more. One thing that this chapter tells is the depravity of man. It wasn't just Herod. He told his soldiers to do it, to kill these babies, and they did. He didn't get in trouble from his superiors or anything like that either. But through all this, God took care of the wise men. They got away. He took care of Jesus and his family. It's sometimes hard to think of things that atrocities that happened. The Holocaust. There's a lot of things in that human beings have done that is just awful. Sometimes it's easy to lose faith at that time. But what we got to remember is, instead of blaming God for it, we should blame sin. God gave us choices, and some of us have chosen terrible things. But we can't lose faith, because it didn't end there. Herod eventually got justice for what he done. Just not in life. Not in the biological life, but when he faced God. But God is in control, and we can still trust him. I know lots of people do lose their faith in God when a loved one dies. But this world is marred by sin. The only way to stop that would be if God gave us no choice. He took away our freedom of choice. But he didn't. And he gives us his Spirit to endure whatever we have to endure, and they promise that if the worst happens to us, it means that we'll be in heaven with him. But the story didn't end here with this massacre. Jesus came to seek and save that which was lost, and he's still around to do it. So I hope you've learned something from this and enjoyed it, and we see you next time. God bless.